Here in this table, we have the 7 modal names. And so what are modes? Modes are the inversion of the major scale. I've done a few videos on this. Here I'm trying to help individuals understand that they might already know something about the modes without kind of knowing it. Let me go over to this frame here where we have the 1, 3, 5. A lot of people learn early on, breaking down the major scale and major theory, that we have a major triad or major chord off the 1, and then it goes in succession: minor, minor, major, major, minor, and diminished. This is the order of the 1, 3, 5s. So this is exactly the same as the table of the modes here. Just eliminating the 2, 4, 6, and 7, we have 1, 3, 5s. So the modes are essentially 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and the reason why there's 7 of them is because each one of them is different. Every time you inverse the scale, start on a different note, it forms a new pattern. Now, some of them are similar, but they are all different. So with this right here, we see that when we break it down to 1, 3, 5s, there's only 3 types. There's majors, minors, and diminished. And a major is 1, 3, 5, minor is 1, flat 3, 5, and diminished is 1, flat 3, flat 5. Similarly, we can do this with the 7th chords. The 7th chords go 1, 3, 5, 7. On the second mode, 1, flat 3, 5, 7, and there's actually 3 of those. The 2, the 3, and the 6 have a 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7. Let's just check that here. 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7, 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7, 1, flat 3, 5, flat 7. So it's the same exact thing, just in a shorter 4-note chord called a 7th chord. So there's 4 different qualities of the 7th chords. There's major 7ths, which happen on the 1 and the 4. There's minor 7ths, which happen on the 2, 3, and 6. There's a dominant 7th, the only occurrence of 1, 3, 5, flat 7. And then there's a diminished minor 7th, 1, flat 3, flat 5, flat 7. So what about the 2s here? We see that each one of them goes to a 2 except the Phrygian and the Locrian. Well, what this is right here is nothing more than the major scale. Whole step, half. Notice the 3 to the 4 is a half step. Whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. A lot of people learn this pattern early on: whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. Well, in the modes, we see the 1 to the 2 is a whole, the 2 to the 3 is a whole, 3 to the 4 is a half. Whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So as far as your modes go, the 1 mode, the first mode, or the Ionian, has a whole, has a 2, a flat 2, 2, 2, 2, flat 2. That's the same exact thing as whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. If we look at the fourths, we see that the 4th is present in every mode except the Lydian mode, which is the 4th mode. Now, this is kind of useful to guitar players because the guitar being tuned in 4ths, if we're playing in a major scale system, that means that the note next to the same fret on the next string is usually a part of the key. Let's just take a look at this. So if I take this whole thing and copy it up here, the 1 to the 4, that means the 2 to the 5 is a 4th, the 3 to the 6 is a 4th, the 4 to the 7th is the augmented 4th, and the 1 to the 5. And if I continue that here, that would be just like this. So we see that the 4th is present on the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4 is that sharp 4 or augmented 4th, the 5, 6, 7, 1. Let's take a look back at the modes here. 1 to 4 to 4 to 4, except the Lydian or 4th mode, and that's exactly what you have right here. So if we were to continue this pattern right here, notice I bring the 7th up right here, and then the 5, 6, 7, we see that. I'm going to go ahead and eliminate this string for now. We see 4 to 7, now 5 to 1, 6 to 2, 7 to 3, 1 to 4, 2 to 5, 3 to 6, 4 to 7. So the fourth, the existence of the fourth to guitar players specifically is important because the instrument is tuned in fourth. So that helps us figure out the neck of the guitar from going from one string to the next. Once we know the scale in one, then we have it for the other. So let's take a look at what happens here now from this string to this string. We can see that here we have a 1 to 7, 2 to the 1. I'm going to eliminate this middle string here. 2 strings over, we see that for the most part they're on the same fret except the 1 to the 7 and the 4 to the 3. Well, these would be considered sevenths. Let's take a look at our chart here. Notice 1, 7, 1, flat 7, flat 7, 1, 7, and then the rest of them are flat 7. So it's the 1 and the fourth mode that have sevenths, and that's what we're dealing with here on the guitar, 2 strings over. It's essentially a distance of a flat 7 from this string to this string because the 1 has a 7th. That's why it's up here on the 1st fret, and then the rest of them are on the same fret except for the 4 because that's also a 7th. So understanding the guitar from this standpoint and the modes from this standpoint will hopefully help you see the value of them, if not for being a scale that you play as a tonal center, to get the sound of that particular scale, but just for the understanding of the major scale system and all its subparts, and knowing that if you've already figured out major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished, that you're already on the path of understanding how modes work. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm happy to do another video.